G'day cousins, and welcome to another session of Honest Talk about women, where you'll learn tips, tricks and strategies on how to navigate the minefields of dating and relationships. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and comment in the comment section. If you've got a story you want to share with viewers, please email me on my email address listed below. Today's story is about dishes. And the reason why you've got to do the dishes. And you may be asking, what has dishes got to do with relationships? Then just hear me out first. When I was a young boy, I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, my father used to ask me to come and caddy for him at the golf club, or when he played golf. And it was a big ask back then. He played 36 holes and it was a hilly golf course, and it was a big ask for a young boy to do that. But back in those days, if your father asked you to do something, you did it. You didn't tell him otherwise. So off to the golf course we went. I think we left about 6:30, 7 in the morning, and it was a full-on day. It didn't finish till about 4 in the afternoon. Anyway, I remember quite distinctly that the guys were playing golf, and the golfers in front were quite slow, and the golfers with my father, the other 3 golfers, were getting a little bit agitated about how slow the field was playing. And it was a par 3, and we're looking down on the people in front of us who are on the green, and one of the golfers that was with my father said, "Oh, that's Johnny down there. You want to know about Johnny's story?" And a few of the dad's colleagues didn't know who Johnny was, and this golfer started to tell the story of Johnny, how one day he came home, and as soon as he walked in the front door, his wife was nagging away, and he went into the kitchen to get a beer, and there's a big pile of dishes to be done, and his wife asked him to do the dishes, and he just picked up all the dishes and threw them out of a 2-level story house onto the concrete down below, smashing all the plates and dishes and that. And all the other golfers just laughed. It was just a funny, hilarious story. And I remember quite distinctly, being a young boy at the time, that sounded like a very bad and sad story. And why would anyone do that? That's incomprehensible that someone would do that. Anyway, so that's story number 1 of the dishes. Rolling along to story number 2, when I was about 16, my father had a block of units, and he often interviewed the tenants to make sure they were, reasonably okay people and they would pay the rent on time. And he preferred to do face-to-face interviews. This is in a different era where you didn't have property managers, or you did Zoom calls or emails or things like that. So he said to me, "Come along, you'll learn some business tips. It'll be good training for you." So I remember going along that day with him, and there's this guy called Frank, and he was a Welshman, and he had a very strong Welsh accent. And first thing my father said, because my dad didn't muck around with words, he said, "Tell me your story, Frank." And Frank started to talk about coming home one day, and he was exhausted, and he went into the kitchen to get a beer, and there was a whole lot of dishes in the sink, and his wife said for him to do all the dishes, and he said they weren't his dishes, and he threw them all out of the window. And it's basically verbatim to the golfing story of the par 3. And my father just broke out with a big roar of laughter and found it hilarious. And being a 16-year-old boy myself, I started to take that in and related it back to the par 3 golf story when I was about 6 or 7. And that this time I didn't think it was a bad story. I just sort of accepted it. So there's a general theme coming through here. Tired guys coming home, and nagging wife, and there's dishes to be done, and there's an explosion basically between the husband and wife. So go along to story number 3. Later on in life, I started to know the ins and outs of businesses and operations, and I really enjoyed operations. And a very successful couple who built a business from scratch. They went from 0 to 500 million in 10 years. They asked me if I could contract to them to sort out some problems I've got with one of their divisions. So they're a nice couple, very entrepreneurial, very successful, very wealthy, and I liked them. And I said, yeah, I'll do the work for you. So it was interesting because it was funny because it was a very unusual company. It was a husband and wife team, and usually you just have one CEO and you get the orders from one CEO, and sometimes there can be a conflict with co-CEOs are giving out different orders. But anyway, this couple was perfectly in sync. They finished each other's words, and they're totally passionate about what they're doing, and they're adding a lot of value to a lot of people, and it was a good business. Anyway, so the lady who's the joint CEO, her and I developed a very close relationship, and it's not sexual at all. It's just purely most like a parent-son relationship, mother-son relationship. She was 20 years my senior, and we thought and very similar, and we often were finishing each other's sentences, and it quite often other state managers, when we were at a function, were quite amused when the CEO lady came up to me and asked if I wanted to lift home. And I raised a few eyebrows, but I can assure you it was 100% business. All we're doing is just comparing notes. Anyway, so in terms of finishing each other's sentences, we were at a function once, and it was actually a retreat, and we had motivational speakers that came in to speak to us, and there was one guy that came in, and I remember the lady sitting next to me, the CEO lady sitting next to me, and she whispered in my ear, "Scott, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And I said to her, "Yeah, he's gay." And it wasn't so much, it was nothing to do about whether being gay is bad or not. We both accepted gay people. There's no big issue there, but it was just basically acknowledging what we were both seeing. And we developed a very close relationship. Anyway, I remember her taking me through the head office once and introduced me to all the workers. And I met and greeted a lot of people, and we met the different departments and IT and HR and operations management and so forth. And then we went into the kitchen, and there was dirty dishes. And I've never ever seen a woman go from Mrs. Nice to Mrs. Angry within seconds. And she said, "Scott, I'm going to get on top of this. I think it's just pure laziness. Some people expect a magic cleaning fairy to come and clean their dishes." And again, when she was saying this, it just related me back to the dishes story of the par 3 golf course, and when I was 16 with Frank. It happens to both sides, male and female. So, and then later in the next couple of days, an email went out to all employees that we've had to release someone as there's no more work involved. And I can just imagine what happened between coming across those dirty dishes and the dismissal of an employee. And it would have worked out something similar to reviewing the security cameras, who put the dirty dishes in there. Then this is in the days of where there were not strict rules on where you can place security cameras. There was a security camera in the kitchen. Then finding the person responsible for that, and then getting HR to deal with it. And I can just imagine how HR would have dealt with it. There would have been a Cindy in HR, and she would have got Karen into the office and said, "Good morning, Karen. How are you today?" And all small talk. "It's unfortunate that we can't meet under more pleasant circumstances, but we've had to release you back into the marketplace to find other opportunities." That's the way these HR people speak when you're getting laid off, when they're laying off people. And you can just imagine Karen being escorted out of the building by security guards to take her personal stuff and leave immediately. And it's quite interesting because throughout life, just a small little thing can break the camel's back, and there can be a cumulative results of other actions, and it can just build up and build up and build up, and then just a minor little thing like the dishes can cause a nuclear explosion. And I saw it 3 times. The story of the par 3, the one when 16 years old with Frank, the new tenant, telling us about his wife, and then in the corporate scene, not doing the dishes. And it's really important that people are house trained. And getting back to relationships, if you're going to get a girlfriend or you're looking at wife material, you've got to make sure they're properly house trained. And on the very first date or second date, you can get a general overview of this on how tidy their car is. So if you're on a date and you're parked way because there's parking issues, and the other person says, "Oh, I'll give you a lift back to your car, Scott, because it's raining," and you get into a car, and the first thing you can do is look how tidy the car is. And if the internal part of the car is nice and clean and tidy, there's a good chance that the kitchen will be like that at home. And should you go further down the bases and get invited over to her house, spot the kitchen, guys, how she keeps it, and how orderly she is, because it all makes a big difference when you run a household if things are nice and tidy. And vice versa yourself. Make sure you do the dishes and do your part too to make things nice and clean and tidy, because it's just those small little things that can accumulate over time that can break the camel's back. So that's my tip for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to press the like button, click on the comment section, make a comment, and also subscribe to the channel. And if you have a story to tell, please email me. My contact email address is listed below. Until next time, take care.